The small dry cleaning shop was hot that afternoon, and a poor orphan was working very hard. She was just 24, but her life was full of struggle. She had no father, no mother, no family. Her only hope was this little job at the shop. That day, she was very hungry. She had soaked a small plate of gari, cassava flakes, with water to drink quietly at the back of the shop. She didn't even have sugar, milk, or groundnut, just plain gari and water. As she was about to take a sip, she didn't notice someone coming behind her. She stood up quickly and accidentally threw the water from the plate forward. Splash! The water poured on a beautiful young woman wearing expensive dress. It was Sophia. She was from a rich family and was Richard's girlfriend, a young billionaire in town. Today, she had come to pick up her dry-cleaned clothes. Sophia looked at her soaked dress and shouted, "Are you mad? Do you know how much this dress costs?" And immediately went on her knees. "Please, Ma. I'm sorry. I didn't see you coming. Please forgive me." But Sophia's face was red with anger. "Forgive you? You think I'm here to joke? This is nonsense." Before Anne could speak again, slap. Sophia's hand landed on her cheek. The shop went silent. Sophia turned to the shop owner and said, "Sack this stupid girl today. If you don't, I will never come here again." The shop owner, afraid of losing such a rich customer, nodded quickly. "Anne, I'm sorry, but you can't work here anymore." Tears rolled down Anne's face as Sophia picked her clothes and left. When Sophia entered Richard's car outside, Richard asked, "Why did you take so long?" Sophia smiled and lied. "Oh, I forgot something in the shop." Richard didn't suspect anything and drove away. That evening, Anne walked slowly on the street, crying. She had lost her only job and had nowhere to sleep. Her small bag of clothes was on her back, and her stomach was empty. She kept walking until she saw an uncompleted building. It was quiet, with no one inside, and went in and lay on the cold floor. Maybe I can sleep here for the night," she whispered to herself. She hugged her bag tightly and cried until she fell asleep. The next morning, voices woke her up. Some men were entering the site with tools. One of them looked at her and asked, "Hey, who are you? Why are you sleeping here?" And quickly knelt down, tears in her eyes. "Please, I have nowhere to go. Please let me stay. I can work. I can do anything. Please." The men looked at each other. Okay. You can help us carry blocks and fetch water. We'll give you some food." Anne's heart lifted a little. She didn't know that the building she was about to work on belonged to Richard, the same man who was dating Sophia. For weeks, Anne worked hard at the site, carrying heavy blocks and fetching water under the hot sun. Her hands became rough, but she didn't complain. She was just grateful to have food to eat. One afternoon, as she was sweeping the site, a black car drove in. The door opened, and Richard stepped out, and froze. She didn't know her life was about to change. The black car rolled into the site. Everyone stopped working for a moment. The man who stepped out was tall, well-dressed, and handsome. His wristwatch alone could pay for a whole building. It was Richard. The workers greeted him respectfully. "Good afternoon, sir." And bowed her head and whispered quietly, "Good afternoon, sir." Richard's eyes stopped on her. Her clothes were dirty, her hands covered in cement dust, and her face was tired. But her eyes, they carried a deep sadness. "You," Richard said, pointing at her. "Come here." Anne's heart pounded as she walked forward. She thought maybe she was in trouble. "What's your name?" "And, sir." "Are you one of the workers here?" "Yes, sir. I just help with carrying things." Richard looked at her for a moment, then asked, "You don't look like a site worker. Where do you live?" And lowered her head, ashamed. I don't have anywhere to live," Sir, I sleep here. Richard's eyebrows rose. Here, on the floor. Yes, so, after my boss at the dry cleaning shop sacked me. He frowned. Why did they sack you? And hesitated, but decided to tell him everything, from soaking Gary that day, to mistakenly pouring water on a rich woman, to getting slapped and being thrown out. She didn't mention Sophia's name because she didn't know this man was her boyfriend. Richard listened quietly, his face unreadable. Finally, he said, "Come with me. You can work in my house as a maid. You'll have food and a room to sleep." Anne's eyes widened. She didn't know whether to cry or smile. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much." That was how Anne followed Richard home. For the first time in months, she slept in a bed. But peace didn't last long. When Sophia came to visit Richard one weekend, she froze at the sight of Anne cleaning the living room. "You!" Sophia shouted. Anne's heart sank. "Good afternoon, Ma." Sophia's face twisted in anger. "What is this filthy girl doing here?" Richard smiled casually. "Oh, you know her. She works here now. She's a good worker." Sophia forced a smile in front of Richard, but deep inside, she was boiling. From that day, Sophia made it her mission to make Anne's life miserable. The wicked punishments begin. One morning, Sophia poured a bucket of dirty mop water on the floor and told Anne, "Lick it clean, with your hands." And, shivering, said, "Please, Ma, I can clean it with a mop." Slap. "Did I ask you to talk? Do it." Another day, Sophia hid Richard's expensive wristwatch in Anne's room and pretended to be shocked. "Richard, this girl stole your watch." Richard checked Anne's room and saw the watch under her pillow, and cried and swore she didn't take it, but Richard's face was hard. "I'll believe you this time, but don't disappoint me." Sophia smirked behind him. Another afternoon, Sophia asked Anne to wash a mountain of clothes by hand, but added broken glass to the soapy water. Anne's hands got cut and bled, yet she kept washing without complaining. At night, in her small room, Anne cried silently. She didn't know how long she could endure this. But every time she thought of leaving, she remembered Richard's kindness. Sometimes, when Sophia wasn't around, Richard would talk to her kindly. One evening, while she served him food, Richard noticed her bandaged hand. "What happened to your hand?" he asked. I cut it while washing, sir." "Washing what?" "Clothes, sir." Richard looked at her for a long time. He knew something was wrong. That night, he called Anne to sit in the living room. "Tell me the truth. What exactly happened to you before you came here?" This time, Anne told him everything. Her parents dying, sleeping in the streets, the dry cleaning shop incident, and how she struggled at the sight just to eat. By the time she finished, Richard was silent. He felt something deep in his chest, pity, and something else he couldn't explain. But Sophia, listening from the hallway, clenched her fists. "This poor rat is getting too close to him. I will make sure she leaves this house in disgrace." And so, the war between Sophia and Anne became even more dangerous.